Good morning, sir.
Hey Nayan, how are you?
Fine, sir.
Okay, let's get started. Let me share my screen. Let me know if you can see.
Yes, can see.
Okay, great. Okay, so today we are going to cover 2-3 topics. One will be we will talk about some more advanced update and delete. So initially when we discussed the simple update, simple delete, but we will see how we can do more with the update delete. And we will discuss about DCL commands as well, grant and revoke access. And we will talk about the exist not exist operator as well. Okay, so let's start with update and delete. Okay, so we have these tables. I'll just quickly take backup of these tables because we will be doing a lot of updates and deletes. So I'll just I have the backup. Okay. Okay. So generally, let's start with update command. So when we update, what is the syntax of the update command? So we say update and the table which I need to update, right? And then set what I want to set. Let's say I want to set salary equal to 10,000. If I run this, all the employees will have salary 10,000 if I update this, right? If I want to update particular employee, I can say where any column filter I can put employee ID equal to 1, right? So it will update for employee ID 1. If I say employee ID greater than 5, right? So it will update for all the rows greater than 5, right? All of them will have salary 10,000 if I run this update statement. Okay. So this is within a table. Using the same table, I'm putting where condition and setting up. Sometimes we need to update from the different table, right? So whatever I want to update is not present in this table, or I want to update for, let's say, based on the filter condition on some other table, right? For example, I have this department table. Okay. Okay. So what I want to do, I want to update the salary by 10% for, let's say, HR department, right? Now, what is the HR department? I don't have that information in this table, right? So I need to check what is the HR department here, and that accordingly for that department ID, I want to do it. Okay. So one way is using the where clause simply. So I will say instead of employee ID equal to this, I will say where department ID in, and I will put this where condition, department ID in condition, right? Where department ID in, select DPID from department table where department name equal to HR, right? So it will give you department ID for HR department, right? And then for that, I will say salary equal to salary into 1.1. So I want to increase it by 10%, right? So if I run this, 2 rows affected only for department ID for HR, and for those 2 employees, what was the department ID? This one, I think 300 for HR, right? So you see, it is 6,600, 8,800. It was 6,000 and 8,000. So only those 2 are updated. Okay, so this is one way. Another thing is sometimes we need column which we need to update from different table. So for example, let's say I want to add department name column in employee table. Just for example, I'm telling. So alter table employee, add department name, where can 20. Okay, so I have the department name here. So I want to populate this department name now. Now this department name is available in department table, right? So using a where condition, I can just filter it, but I cannot get the department name from department table, right? Which means I need to do a join within update. So I need to do a join, get the department and update this table. Okay, so let's do that. So how we can do it? Instead of filter, I need to join now. So I'll just remove, comment it out. Okay. I will say update employee, and again I have to give the table name from employee alias. Okay. Inner join department table D on E dot department ID equal to D dot department ID, right? Okay, so this is my table DPT. I'm joining employee with department on department ID equal to department ID. And what I need to set? I need to set department name equal to D dot department, right? That's what I want to do, isn't it? What I want to do, I want to update employee table, right? So this is the syntax. If you want to join with some other table and get the column, right? And then you have to set department with what? The department name of department table, D dot department name, right? And you have to again say from employee E, inner join department D on E dot department ID equal to D dot department ID. I run this. It says 10 rows affected and select start from employee. So we have the department name here. This is null because department ID 700 is not present in my department table, so it is null. Otherwise, you see everything else is updated. So basically, we are using a column from a different table to update employee table, right? So you need to do join, right? After this, you can even put the where condition where, let's say you want to update only for some particular department. So you could have put the filter D dot department name equal to analytics, let's say. So basically you can do everything, inner join, where condition, right? You can put in the update statement and update your table. Okay, so this is about how to update the table using other tables. So there are two cases. One, we want to do a filter, a simple filter, right? We want to see whatever department is HR department. For that, I want to increase the salary. So you can simply use where condition, and this you can achieve using inner join also, right? You can do inner join on department ID and then filter on a department name, right? So if you want to increase salary of analytics department, let's say, right? So what you can do, you can say, let me copy this, right? So you can say set salary equal to salary into, let's say, by 20%, okay? Only for analytics department. So I'm doing an inner join and putting a where condition, right? So this will be same as putting a inner query, this one, right? This and this is same. If I put analytics here, it will work same. So you can achieve this filtration using a where clause department ID in using a subquery, or you can even do an inner join and do that, right? So again, if I go to select staff from employee, for analytics department, we will have salary increased by 20%. Okay, all of them. Okay, it was 10,000, sorry, 5,000 to 6,000, 10,000 to 12,000, 15 to 18, and again 10 to 12. So this is about update statement. Any doubt here on the update statement with join and filters with subquery? Are we good here, guys?
Ankit, one question. Let's assume due to some issue, we have two values for a single department ID. Let's, in case of 300, right? We are having HR, and let's assume we have marketing also for 300.
Okay.
Okay.
In the department table, right?
Yeah, in department table, yes.
Okay.
So in that case, what will happen, right? If you do this update statement by giving the join.
Okay, you are saying you have a duplicate here, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Mm,
So
I
let's
think,
create another entry for 300
yeah.
map marketing or something.
Right. Okay, this is our primary key. Let me remove that constraint. Is not able to delete also, not sure. Okay, let me create a different table. Do we have this in the back table also? Let's see.
Ankit, probably foreign key constraint also will be there, right? That's why it is not dropping.
Okay, in the employee table, we have a foreign key constraint, is it? Okay, let me check that. There are no constraints here in the employees table. Maybe some other table we have put.
But I think that table you have backup will be free from the constraint.
Backup table, let's see. No constraint. Keys are also not there. Okay, let's use the backup table. Okay, so in the backup table, we have now duplicates, right? 100, 100. Let's use this. So I will use dept underscore backup, right? And I will update the department name. Okay. So we have a duplicate for analytics. Let's see what goes in the employee table, right? Okay. It is going analytics only. So whatever coming first, I think it is taking that. Right, from in department back table, if you see, we have two entries. But when it updates, it is updating with, okay, I have put this filter. Let me remove this filter, I think. Okay. Yeah, now let's see. Okay, again 10 rows affected. Still it is coming analytics only. So I think it is taking randomly one value, right? So we have analytics and marketing both, but when it is updating, it is taking analytics only.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, but ideally this scenario should not come, right?
Yeah, but I was expecting like it will duplicate the rows in the employee
No, no,
table.
no. It will not duplicate the rows, right? We are just doing an update. Update cannot increase the number of rows in your table, right?
Correct, correct.
Select statement can give you in the output more rows, but update statement is just updating. It cannot add rows in your table,
Yeah, yeah,
right?
got it.
Yeah.
So
Okay,
it
so
is
this, Yeah.
Or just do one thing, select star from employee by using this join condition and see if we are getting only 11 rows or data will get increased.
We will get more rows, right? Because it will
Yeah.
be joined on two times, right? So if I do that, let me do this quickly. In join condition, it will be joined with both. Here also it is joining with both, but maybe one by one it is updating. So maybe first it updated with marketing, and on the second time it then again updated to analytics. That might be happening, right?
Yeah. It is 14. Yeah.
So we have marketing also again repeating, right? You see, we joined with department ID 100 here and again on the marketing as well. So in select clause, yes, you have 14 rows because 4 rows are duplicating as such. But in update, it won't duplicate. Maybe it is first updating as marketing, and on the second join, again it is updating to analytics. That would have been happening. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Now this was about update. Let's move on to what we call it, delete, right? So again, delete from employee, right? So if I have to delete, I can just simply delete, right? Delete from employee. If I do, everything will be deleted, and I can do a where condition also, where employee ID equal to, let's say, 1. So it will delete where employee ID equal to 1, and you can put whatever condition we discussed in where clause, right? Similarly in update, any where condition, complex where condition we can put. Okay. Now again, if I want to check on some other table, so I can say where department ID, let's say not in, select department ID from department table, right? Okay, so what it will do, whatever department ID is not present in department table, for those records, it will delete. So in our course, we see department ID 700 is not present in department table, right? So if I go here, 700 is not there. 100, 200, 300, 500, 800, right? So if I delete it, it will delete only that department ID. So one row is deleted for department ID 700. So we don't have 700 now, right? So this is, again, you can use this subquery here to filter on something and delete the record. Now again here, see, for delete, we don't need a column as such, right? So we can achieve it using always where clause. For update, we might need a column to update. But for delete, it is just about deleting a row with a where condition. But still, we have a way of do a join. Okay, so I can say delete from employee, right? Okay, so it is something like this. Like for update, we gave 2 times. Here also we have to give 2 times. Delete employee from employee, right? Inner join dpt d on e dot dpt underscore id equal to t dot dp id. And let's say I want to delete all the employees of HR department. So I will say where d dot department name equal to. So this I could have achieved using a subquery as well, right? Like here. And but I can do a join also. So both works. Right? 2 rows affected. So those 2 rows are deleted from employee table. Right? So we don't have a department ID 300. 300 was for HR. Right? So you can do inner join also, but for delete, you may always use where clause. You might not need inner join, right? You can always put where clause and use a subquery, right? Join we need only when we need some column from other table. For example, an update, I wanted department name from the department table to update in the employee table. But in delete, you will never need a column from another table, right? You will need that for only for filter, right? And that you can do always using where clause. But you can use anything. It's up to you. You can even do join, or you can do where clause, whatever. It's absolutely fine. Okay. So this is about delete. Again, joins and subqueries we can do in update also, joins and subqueries.
Ankit, this delete without where condition is a truncate, we can say.
Yeah, so it will delete all the records, whatever are joining, right? If there is some extra employee ID, that won't be deleted, right?
Okay.
So it is an inner join. So earlier we had 700. So 700 will not be deleted, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So it is with an inner join. You can even do left join and all those kinds of things also. It is not that you have to do inner join. You can do left join, right? In the update also, you can do left join, full outer join, whatever. And you can put where condition after joins. So all those things can be done. There is no restriction.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Are we good here with the update and delete? Okay. Let's move on to exist and not exist clause. Okay. So exist and not exist clauses are using in a where condition. Okay. I'll show you how. So let's get back to our employee table again. Let me use employee back this time. And okay, so we have these tables, right? Now what I want to do, I want to see the details of all the employees which are present in department table, right? So example 700 is not there, right? I want to see only for those employee details whose department is available in this table. Now we have bunch of ways of doing it. We can do using where clause subquery, where department ID in department ID table, or we can do an inner join. In that case, we will get only employees which are present, whose department is present in department ID table. There's one more way of using exist, and that I'm going to show you now how we can use that. Okay. So I will say select a star from employee back. Okay. Where exists. Okay. And then I have to write a query here. So I will say select one from DEPT where I will, let's say it is T, right? Where E dot department ID equal to D dot DEP ID. Okay, I will explain this how it's working. Let me run it first. So you see that 700 we are not getting, right? We are getting 10 rows. There were total of 11 rows, right? There were total 11 rows, but the 700 is not there in the department table. So we are getting 10 rows only, right? So how it is working? So exist, this operator returns true or false, right? So what will happen for each of the employee record? Okay, it will go and check in department table. If department ID of employee table is equal to department ID of department table, and it will return some rows, right? So let me run again these two. What it will do basically, there is a reference of this is kind of inner query, right? And this is an outer query. So there is a difference of outer query in the inner query. You see E, I am saying E. So in the inner query, I am using a difference of outer query E, right? And I am saying E dot department ID equal to D dot department ID. So what will happen for each record of employee table? This inner query will run. So we are on the first row, let's say. Okay. So for this row, it will go to the department table and check if the department ID equal to D dot department ID, right? It is there. So it will return that many rows. In our case, there will be one row. So what this does exist operator, it returns true or false. So if your query is returning at least one row, right? If your query is returning at least one row, it will return true. If your query is not returning any row, it will return false, right? So whenever true, those records you will get. Whenever false, those records you will not get, right? So for employee ID 1, when it will go to department table and join, it will say there is one record. You can do anything here, select 2, select department ID, doesn't matter, because it checks number of rows. So what you select doesn't matter here. You can select 1 or select any column name from department table, it doesn't matter, right? It will just check how many rows are returning. If there are 1 or more rows returning, it will just return true, this clause. And when it returns true, you will get that record in the output. Again for 2, now it will go to second row. So it is going row by row. For each row, it is running the inner query, right? So this is not a very good in the sense, because for every record of outer query, inner query is running. So it might not be so fast, right? So for 2, it will again check. For 3, it will again check. For 4, it will again check, and it will return true, true, true. And when it comes to 700 here, it will come to this row, and then it will go again here and go is 700 there, right? 700 will not be there. So it will not return any row, this query. And so it will, where exist will return false, right? And that row is not coming in the output with the query. Okay, so 700 was not coming. Now, similar to exist, we have not exist, so which is the reverse, right? So we will return all the employee whose department is not present. It is ulta, right? So only 700 will come.
700.
Only 700. So it is just reversing the condition. Okay. It is exactly same. It is just reversing the condition. So when it is false, it will say true. When I say not, right, it will just reverse it. So whenever this is returning false, it will make it true. And whenever it is returning true, it will make it false. That's the only difference. Otherwise, exist and not exist concept is same. Okay. Now here you cannot take any column from this table. It is just a lookup kind of thing, right? So for row database, it is very fast, because what is happening is you are not joining table. You are just doing a lookup, right? So as soon as there is one record, it will just return true and you will get that in output. But generally, you don't need it. As you know, we can achieve this using in clause or inner join, and its syntax is not that friendly also. So generally, people do not use it. But if you want to use it, you can use it. There's no harm in that. So if you just want to do a lookup on a table to see some records are present or not, and you don't want any column as such, just a lookup, you can use exist and not exist. And this again, exist, non-exist, you can use in delete and update statements as well. So this is just a where operator, right? And also you can give multiple join conditions as well, where e dot department ID, let's say you had one more column you wanted to do a join on, you can do that. You can even put then where condition. So whatever you want to write, you can write it here. So it will just do that. Whatever you are giving here, it will do that for each row of employee table. And if at least one record is returning after meeting all the conditions, where condition, join condition, it will just return true, and that record will be there in your output, right? For each row, it will do the same operation. For each row, it will go inside and check the condition and it will do it. Any doubts here? Are we good with exist, not exist?
Ankit, will this be faster than enclose or how
So-
it?
Yeah, so it depends on database to database. So in row, so they are row database which stores your data at row wise, right? And they are columnar database. For row databases, it will be faster actually. But for columnar databases like Redshift, SAP HANA, and most of the modern databases are columnar databases, which stores data at column level. For them, it is almost similar. Inclose might be faster sometimes, but it doesn't matter for them. But for SQL Server, Oracle, these are row databases that stores data row by row in your disk, right? So for them, exist is generally faster, but there's not much difference again. I won't say that you should use exist always because it will be faster. Nothing like that. There won't be much difference. You can just try it for some of the tables. It will be almost similar. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
But you should know that there is a way of doing it in case someone asks, right? Yeah.
Ankit, in inner query, any column is not getting returned. That is okay. So if we select any column in inner query, that won't impact our performance, right? Because where
Right.
condition is returning true or false, something like that.
That's it. How many rows are returning? That matters. What you are selecting doesn't matter.
Okay. Means multiple columns we can write here. It won't
Yeah.
impact anything else.
Yeah. But why to write it? There's no point, right?
Yes, yes, yes.
You can just put select one. This is the standard thing people follow. Just select one. That's it. It will be faster, right? Because if I put column name, database has to get that column value. It is one is a constant, so it might be little faster if I use one, right? So
Oh.
it's better to keep it simple. Yeah. Someone had
Ankit,
a question. Yeah.
yeah, I had a question. After the where exists, right? If we give a additional condition like and
Yeah,
one
yeah.
equals two or one equals one, so what would be the output, sir? Yeah.
1 equal to
And
1.
Yeah, and one equal to two is in the next time when you run.
And 1 equal to 2, is it?
Yeah.
So 1 equal to 2 condition will always be false, right? So with
So if the
exist,
data
this is just like a where clause, right? So this is one condition. After that, you can put more condition and or you can put anything. Now 1 equal to 2 will always be false, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
So it will not return anything.
Okay, if I remove that one equals to two,
Yeah, then you will get 1 equal to 1 will always be true, right?
okay.
But this condition is there. This is there. So you are not getting 700 still. And this is the end condition. If I do all, right, then we will get all 11 rows. You got 11 rows because this is the all condition now. And this will always be true.
If we give or equals to one equals two instead of giving one equals one equal to two.
Then this is never true. So whatever is true from here will come. So 700 will not come. This is all condition, right?
Yeah.
This should be true or this should be true. So this will never be true. So whenever this is true, it will give me. So 700 is not coming for this one. Yeah.
Thanks, Ankit.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Ankit, like as you said, that exist or not exist basically run on based on rows or columns, right? So it is slow. But I've seen like when we are creating some table, we basically check if table exists or not exists, and then we create. So it means it basically check overall table or just a table name in that scenario.
That's a different thing. This is a different operation, and that you are talking about is a different operation. So we can say create table if exist, right? Right, or if not exist.
Yeah.
and then table name.
So this is
Right.
basically we are checking the table name only, not the.
Here we are checking table name, if this table is present or not, that's it.
Okay. Okay.
So this is different from what we are discussing.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, any other doubts here? Exist, not exist, or delete, update? So it is just one where condition, and you can use and after that and inner join. I mean, before that inner join, and here again subquery, whatever. Just like any other condition, when I say, let's say department ID equal to 100, so this is also a condition, right? This is also a condition. And it will return true or false for every record, right? Similarly, this also returns true or false. It is just that it is running for each record of the inner query, right? Because I have a reference of employee table inside, so it will just run every time for each row. So everywhere condition ultimately returns a true or false, right? So department ID 100 also returning true or false. For first row, it is returning true. For fifth row, it is returning false, right? This is also returning true and false. And based on that, if both are true, this is also true and this is also true, because we have an end condition, we will get. If I put all, if any of one condition is true, then we will get the record. So it is all true or false basically. It is just that it is just checking row by row on this table, but it is running the inner query every time for each of the row from outer table. That is the only difference. Otherwise, it is just another where condition. Okay. Great. Okay. So like we discussed different kinds of command, right? We discussed DDL command.
In general, we won't be using the exist, right? I mean, for data analyst people, we won't be using the exist more, right?
You can use it, but whatever you do using exist, you can achieve using where clause or inner join, right?
Okay, so so in general, I mean, it's not more to be usable.
Yeah, it is not of more importance. Yeah, right.
Okay, okay.
Ankit, I had a question. If we are using this where exist, then we can use alternate as subquery as well, right? Suppose employee ID where we can use
Here you are
subquery as
saying
well,
here.
right? Yeah. Instead of where exist, we can use like where department ID in bracket.
Right.
Yeah.
That we can do. That I told you that we can do that where department
ID
in and
after that
that's
select to one. Yeah. So what is the difference between both these two?
so that's so there's no different. I mean, there's a different ways of doing things, right? This you are using in clause subquery, and this you are using exist, right?
Yeah.
There's no difference as such. These are different way of doing things.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Another thing is you can give multiple where condition here, and let's say your primary key is a combination of two columns. So you can say department ID is department ID, and let's say department name equal to department name. So you can give multiple join conditions here, right?
Ankit, when we use in operator, in that case, row-wise comparison will happen, right?
Yeah, row-wise compare. So what will happen in the subquery? This will return you some result, right? This query is running only once in this case,
Okay.
right? If you see in this case, what is happening? This query is running once. So this is called independent subquery, and this is called correlated subquery. So in independent subquery, your inner query will run only once. So whatever departments are there, it will return, and then against each row, then department ID will be compared, right?
Okay.
So your inner query is running only once, but in this case, your inner query is running multiple times for each row of the employee table. That is the difference.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
So performance by in operator will be better or exist?
So again, generally, if you see, there's not much difference. If I run both of these and compare plan, there won't be much difference, to be honest. So you can use anything. It doesn't matter.
Okay.
Okay. So we were discussing about DDL. So DDL, data definition language, right? Data definition language. So whatever we do, like we create a table, we drop a table, we alter table, all these are data definition language because we are creating some definition about data. We are creating a table structure or dropping a structure or altering. Second, we saw DML. DML is data manipulation language, right? What comes under this? Insert, because we are inserting a new row. So we are manipulating data, update, right? Delete. So these are all data manipulation language. Similarly, we saw select. Select comes under DQL, data query language. So we are querying the data, right? Similar to that, we have a DCL as well, data control language. This is a new category. So what is data control languages? So you want to control the access of the objects. So for example, I created this employee table, right? Now, there are other users as well in my database, right? So in your company, there will be multiple users, right? For each of the user, you will create a database login, right? Now I can see, I can go to my database, go to security. If you see, I go to security and then I will see the users here. Okay. So these are all my users. So I can create, right click and create more user, new user, right? So I can give your username, login name, and default schema, right? So I can create more users. Now, once the tables are created, I want to give access to the individual user, right? So not all, some users will have only select access, right? I want to give only read access. Some users will have some other kind of access, like create table access. So how do I give this access? All that will be controlled by data control language, DCL. In that, we have mainly two commands. One is grant, to grant the access, revoke, to revoke the access. Okay. So let's say I have a user guest and I want to give some access to this guest user. So I will say grant. Okay. First is grant. I want to grant some access. What access I want to grant? I want to grant select access, right? I want to grant select. So this person, when he log in, he will be able to do select on what? On, let's say I want to give on employees table. Okay. Grant select on employees to guest. So this is my syntax. First, I have to say what access I want to give. Grant. Let's say I want to give grant and insert both. So I can do comma and I can specify two commands, what all I want to give, right? So let's say I want to give select and insert both to this employee on what? On employee table, right? To guest. So this is my user. If I run this, so when this guest user logs in, he will be able to do select and insert on employee table. Okay. Now let's say I want to give this access to, I want to give guest user all tables, right? One way is I give table by table. So for a particular table, I want to give some access to guest user. Let's say I want to give select access to all the tables. So there is a user. I want to give read access to all the tables. So I will just grant select on all. There is some, grant all. Okay, sorry, my bad. No, grant select to all the tables I want to give, right? I think some syntax error. Okay, I will check that. But there is a way to give to all the tables. We will check that in a while. Another thing is, if I want to give this access to all the users, so I can just say public. Okay. So what will happen? This select insert on employee table will be given to all of them, because I said to public. So all users will get select and insert on employee table. Okay. Let's check grant on all tables SQL Server. Okay, I think we have to give on schema. Let's try this. Grant select on. SQL. Right. Yeah. To guest. Okay. I think okay. Schema is DBO, right? My bad. That is our database. Yeah, this is working. So what will happen on the DBO schema, right? The guest user will access to all the tables. So we have a DBO schema, right? So if I go to tables and we have different schemas. So all the DBO schemas will have access. I give select on schema, right? So this is schema, whatever tables are there, all the tables on all the tables, I'm giving select access to guest user, right? So this is how I can give on multiple tables, all the access, right? Okay, so we can give select, insert, we can give update, right? We can get create table, right? Alter table. So we can give all those statement access, right? Similarly, if we want to revoke, so revoke is revoke, select, right? From revoke select on employee from guest. What it will do? It will revoke select access on employee table from guest. Right? So when you are giving access, you have to use to, because you are giving access. When you are revoking from, then you have to from. Okay. So again, you can give select, insert, delete. You can give multiple as well. If you want to revoke it from public, you can just say from public, right? So it will revoke from all the users, select, insert, delete access on employee table. Okay. Any doubts here?
Ankit, we can use like any major commands to give the permission or to revoke the permission, right? Insert,
Right.
update, delete, create table, or any other major command that we normally use for
Yeah, select,
maintaining
insert,
database.
delete, drop, alter, create table. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Now this is
One thing, sorry.
yeah.
Ankit,
Go ahead.
hello.
Yeah.
So that rollback and commit is also part of DCL.
That is, so this is data control language, DCL. There is another TCL.
Okay.
Transaction control language. Okay, in that rollback and commit will come.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so here if you see, we have given access to individual users or to public. Okay, now there will be a use case where we want to create some commands to a group of users, right? So for example,
Ankit,
there is a sales team, right?
one
I
more
want to give some
Sorry to
table
interrupt.
access. Sorry.
Ankit, there is one more question. Mostly these are the work of DBA, right? Not for the data.
Right. Right, it is a work of DBA. Right, you are right. Now again, in some companies, startup and all, you might not have DBA and developer. One person might be doing everything, right?
Right.
So it is good to know the basics. You don't have to go deep inside, but you should know these things exist, right?
Yeah.
As a data analyst as well. because maybe when you are talking with your admin, if you have some basic understanding of these things, it will be good, right?
Right. Thank you.
Okay. Now, let's say you want to give something to a group of users. So what you can do, you can create roles. So I can say create role, and let's say role underscore sales, right? For sales team, I'm creating a role. Okay, so this role is created now. So if I go here, so we have this roles, right? Where is that? Security and roles. Yeah. If you see, if I refresh it, database roles, and we have this role sales created, right? We just created it. And see, public is there. So public was like for everyone we were giving access. This is also a kind of role in that all the users are there. Okay. Now I created a role sales. Now what I can do, instead of giving access to a person, I can give access to a role. So let me take this one and say grant select on employee to this role. So instead of giving to public or individual user, I am giving it to a role. Okay. Now I have given it to a role, but there is no member in this role, right? So I will add some member. So for example, I will say alter role sales, add member, let's say guest, right? Alter role, I think. Yeah. Okay, so if you see what I have done in the role sales, I have added member guest. Now what will happen? This guest will have all the access which I have given into role sales, right? So to this role, I have provided select access on employee. So all the members in this role sales will have access to this table, right? Now let's say you have a team and a new member is joining. So instead of giving all the accesses to that user again and again, you can just once whatever access you want to give, you can just add it to role sales. That's it. Now whenever a new member is coming, right, I can just add that member to this role sales. Or if someone is leaving, I can just remove that member from the role sales, right? So you don't have to give all the commands again and again. You are controlling the access at role level, and then you are adding or removing members from the role. Okay. Are we good? Any doubt here? Does this make sense? This role thing? If you double click, it is showing the role members also. So we have the guest only. I can add from here as well, from the UI itself. This is a very useful thing actually, because we can just set it at role level, whatever. So I want to give multiple accesses. I can just set it at role level, and then I can add and remove members simply from this role. Similar to add member, we will have remove member or delete member. Are we good with the grant and revoke? Any doubts here, guys? Let me know.
Can you explain role one more time? I just got the grant and that you revoke, but still there is some confusion in role.
With the role, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So what we have seen that we can give grant and revoke to an individual user or public, right? Either I give username, so this user will have access, or I give public. So public means everyone will have access, right? So let's say there is a sales table. You want to give access to that table only to sales team. Not everyone should have. So there are two ways. If you give public, then everyone will have access. Sales team and other teams as well, which is again a security issue. So you don't want to do it. Or you can give to individual users. So if you have 15 users in your team, you will give 15 users. Or for all those 15 users, you will run this command, right? Right? You will run this command. So guest, let's say. So all the 15 users, you will run the command, and every time someone is coming new to the team, you will give this access, or someone is removing, you have to revoke it, right? So that is one way of doing it. Another way of doing it is you create a role, right? I created a role sales. Okay. To
It is
this
for a
role,
particular team, right?
sorry,
It is for a particular team.
it depends on it can be any group or team or
Okay.
or maybe for a reason, anything, right? For a particular country you want to create a role, it can be anything, right?
Okay.
A group of member you want to give access, you will create a role for them. Let's say you want to give country level access, right? So you can create a role for country. So it depends on what group you want to create. So here we are creating for sales team, let's say. So I created a role sales. Now I will give all the access to these roles. Instead of a user, I'm giving select, insert, whatever I want to give, I'm giving it to this role, right? Now in this role, we can add members. So all the members which are present in this role will have access to employee table. So whatever we will grant to this role, all the members will have access to those things, right? And if I want to add a member, I can just say alter role this, add member guest, or you can just double click and add here.
Got it. Ankit. Thank you.
In this way, you don't have to give this select to individual users. You can just add member, remove member, and they will have access accordingly. Okay, let me know if any doubts. I'll just leave it for 2 minutes. Think about it, revoke and grant. Okay. Okay, if there are no doubt, let's move on to the TCL, transaction control language. In transaction control language, we have commit and rollback. Okay.
Ankit, I just have one doubt.
Yeah.
In general, what roles will data analyst have? I mean, in the companies.
Generally, data analyst will be just reading the data. So they will have select access basically on all the tables.
Okay, so they will not be having access to any DQL, I mean, DDL commands, right?
Right. So generally, data engineers will be taking care of, creating table pipelines, and data analysts will read the data and do the analysis. But there's no hard and fast rule. In some companies, data analysts also can create tables, right? For analysis, some tables they can create and share with other members, right? So there's no hard and fast rule. It depends on team to team. Yeah.
Okay. Until thank you.
But generally, if some business users are using your database, so for them it will be generally only select, because you don't want to give create table, drop table access to a business user, right?
Yeah.
So for business users, it will be just select.
Okay. And for people who are in the DBA roles, how they will have all this access, like giving an access to the other person?
What role? DPA.
DBA, the database administrators.
Right.
They will have access to the complete database, right?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, DBS will be managing the database, so they will have access everything.
Okay. I mean, will there be a group created similar to this, like roles for those people to create all
Yeah,
this access?
that also can be done. So one will be the owner who created the database, and then he can create a database admin role, and he
Mhm.
can give all the access to database admin, and then he can keep adding user, whoever is the DBA.
Okay. Got it. Thank you.
So Ankit,
One more, yeah.
so Ankit, it is like in Azure we have Active Directories, and we basically add users in Active Directory, and then they automatically get the accesses in Azure itself. Same concept we are having here, is it?
I'm not sure. I have not worked on Azure.
Okay.
Yeah. I have not explored Azure, so not sure. But yeah, you might be correct. Okay. One more thing is, so let's say I'm giving this access, right? So once I give this access to guest user, what will happen? The guest user will have select access on employee table. Okay. But this person will not be able to give access to anyone else, right? If you want that whatever access you are giving to this person, and this person should also be able to give this access to other. So you can say with grant option. Okay, so now what will happen? You say you have given access with grant option. It means this user now can give other users select access on employee table. Okay, so when he logins with his login ID, he will be able to give select access on employee table to other users. So he has that power now because you gave with grant option. Okay, if you don't give with grant option, then this person cannot give access to others. He will have access, just select access, and he cannot give to anyone else. So with grant option is used if you want to give this person power to give the same access to other people. Okay. Okay, great. Now let's move on to the TCL, transaction control language. Okay. So TCL is commit and rollback. Commit is, so this is basically applicable to DMLs, right? So DDLs are auto commit. So once you do a DDL, create, drop, alter, you cannot revert it, right? Once it is done, it is done. It is not possible you create a table, say create table name, right? And then you want to just revert it. It cannot possible. You have to drop the table. That's it, right? Again, if you are doing a alter, or you are doing a alter command, right? Alter, and you added a column. You cannot say rollback. That rollback the changes. No, you will have to run a delete drop column command individually to drop the column, right? So that cannot be done. Similarly, truncate. We spoke about truncate. So for delete, we can roll back, let's say but for truncate, we cannot roll back. Once it is truncated, it is truncated. Okay. So how it works? So basically TCL comes into account when we are talking about insert, right? Insert, update, delete, mainly these things, right? Select is select. There is no rollback as such. It is just giving you data. It is not modifying any data in your database or creating a definition. So there's no point of talking about select. We are talking about when we are talking about commit and rollback. Select is just giving you output. So it has not impacted databases in any way, right? So there's no point of commit and rollback with the select statement. But with insert, update, delete, we can talk about it. Okay. So let's say, so this is within a transition. Let's say I'm starting a transaction, begin transaction D. Okay. Trans is a transaction. Okay. And then I'm saying, let's say update EMP set salary equal to set salary equal to let's say, let me check what are the employee. So update employee set salary equal to 20,000 where EMP underscore ID equal to 1. Okay. So this will update. Then I will say commit for now. Okay. I will just say commit D transaction D. Okay. If I run this now, let me take it to the top. Yeah. Okay, it would have updated the employee table. Let's check the employee table. Select star from employee. Right? So we have the salary as 20,000, right? So it is done. Now let's see something else here. So I will say rollback transaction D, and this time I will make it 25,000. And let's run this. Okay, so it says one row affected. And if we see, it is still 20,000. See? You see, I made it as 25,000, but it is still 20,000. Why? Because I'm doing a rollback, right? So what is happening? I begin a transaction D, and then I'm saying rollback to transaction D. So whatever happened between these two will be rolled back, right?
Okay, after committing, it is possible to roll back again.
No, commit. If it be commit, it is done. We cannot roll back. Okay, so you have to, let's say you are doing some work or creating a script, you can just start a transaction. Okay, and if something goes wrong, you can just roll back to that transaction. So begin transaction, and after that, whatever you are doing, it will be within that transaction. Okay, and you can roll back and commit. So once commit is done, it is done. Let's try to create a table. So I will create a table, let's say select star into EMP role from employee. Okay. So if you see, this is kind of select star into, we are creating a table. Okay. And let's try to roll back this. Sorry, it says rollback transaction as no. I didn't choose this actually. That's why it is giving you. So I'm doing a rollback, but it is saying you never begin the transaction, right? So let me make it 30,000 this time and run this. Okay. Okay, there is already an employee. Okay, so it says 1 row affected, 8 rows affected. Now, if I check my employee table, it is still showing 25,000, right? 35,000, it is not updated. But do we have this table? Let's see. It's not there. Okay. I think because this is a select star still, so it is not there. Let's try to create a table, normal table. Create table EMP. Okay. And EMP ID. Sorry, integer. And EMP name. Where there. Okay. Let's run this now. So I will just remove this. And I'm going to run this. Okay, it says 1 row affected. So if we see again our employee table, because we have rolled back, it still shows 25,000. Let's see if we have this table or not, right? Invalid object name. Interesting. Invalid object name. So this table is still not created, right? Okay. Let me do this again. Now if I do create it, so it is rolling back this also, right? Now if I do this, it is rolling back this create table also. Generally DDL cannot be rolled back. I think there is some changes recently. I'm not sure. I will just check this. But generally, the fundamentally DDL cannot be rolled back. Once it is created, it is created. Okay. But you understand the concept of commit and rollback. I'll just check this DDL once and confirm tomorrow. Okay. But you understand the concept of commit and rollback. If I commit, I cannot roll back. And if I want to roll back, I can just say to which transaction I want to roll back, and it will be roll back to that this point, right? And you will not see the updates. Okay, are we good with the commit and rollback?
Yes, Ankit.
Okay, let me run this one and see. Okay, so it's a one row affected, and I go here, it is 35,000. Okay, but at this point I can roll back. I will say roll back, and if I go back here, it is again 25,000, right? Now what I will do, I will just do a commit here. Commit. I will again start a transaction, right? I will commit it. Okay, so it would have been there. And if I try to roll back this, so it is saying rollback transaction request has no corresponding begin transaction. The moment I do commit, the transaction is closed, right? And we don't have a transaction now, so I cannot roll it back. So it is 35,000. So once I committed, it is committed. I cannot roll back after commit. Okay. Again, it is of not much use generally. Most of the database comes with, by default, you have auto commit, and you will not be using begin transaction, and you will be using normal insert statements and all, right? So, but again, you should know it, because sometimes interviewer may ask you what is commit, what is rollback. So you should be able to answer it. Okay. Any doubts there on commit and rollback?
Ankit, for commit and rollback, begin transaction is mandatory?
Yeah, so you are saying this is, I'm starting a transaction now, right? So if there is no transaction, you cannot do. So for example, let's do it separately. Okay.
I mean, sometimes if we delete some data by mistake, we do
So-
rollback or
So
kind of things, right?
by default, it will be like auto commit on. You will have to see somewhere settings. So you will have to see auto commit off in that case. Okay, by default, auto commit is on. So for example, if I make it 25,000. Okay. Okay, so I have 25,000. Now if I say rollback, there's no transaction, I'm just saying rollback, right? So it says rollback transaction request has no corresponding begin transaction. Okay. So you have to have some begin transaction, then only you can roll back to that transaction.
Oh, okay. I mean, okay. In some cases in production by mistake, if somebody deletes the data, I don't know. I think
Then again, that will be all
do a rollback.
snapshot and all we discussed in the last class. We can create a snapshots every 3 hours or something, right?
Yeah. Okay.
Right. Yeah.
The save point is something.
Yeah.
Save
I
point
mean,
is like you are giving multiple save point to, so you can roll back to that point. So in between, let's say I have 10 commands. So in between, I can say save point, save point. So let's say you have update and then you have insert. Okay. And you will say save point here. Save point. I'm not sure what is the exact syntax, but then you can roll back to this save point. So whatever in between this will be rolled back. This will still be there. Update. So that is like a save point.
So that is also comes under TCL.
Yes, right.
If I turn off this auto commit, would I be able to, I mean, is there a way that I could only roll back to the previous command that I ran?
Mm. Auto commit off. Let's see if we have auto commit off. Auto commit off SQL Server. Click on tools and choose options. Okay. Click on tools, choose options. And then select query execution, then SQL Server followed by ANSI. Select query execution. Query execution. See query execution.
Yeah, it is there down here.
Yeah. And then SQL Server. ANSI. Okay. There's no auto commit, right? Set implicit transactions, set cursor. Okay. Make sure to click on checkbox set implicit transactions. Okay. Click on OK. Okay. Okay, let's try now. I'll just take this again. Okay, this is there. And I will say this. Okay. Oh, let me change it to 50,000 for now. Okay, and select staff from employee. We have 50,000, and if I want to roll back, there's no begin transaction, is still same. Okay, then what it is talking about? Okay, this is by command line. You can do it whatever we do using GUI. Okay, and nothing is there. Roll back SQL Server without transaction. Okay. Okay, I think we will have to create a new window. Let's see. I think. Okay. Let's make it 60,000 this time. Roll back. Yeah. So this is working now. I had to create a new window, open a new tab.
Okay.
So without the begin transaction, we are able to do rollback. Right? It is still 50,000 because I changed that settings, right? Tools option, and we are saying set implicit transactions. So for each command, it is a transactions in itself, right? If I uncheck it, then it is auto commit kind of thing. Okay.
So whatever I write in the new window that I opened, that could be rolled back. Is that it?
Yeah, so not new window kind of. So it was when it creates a new tab, it takes the settings that time, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it was
I mean,
an existing tab. So I just opened a new tab, so it is now working.
So Ankit, we can also do it like restarting our MSE, like SSMS again, right? And it
Yeah.
will be settings submitted there.
Okay. Also, if you see 60,000, and I will do a commit now. Okay, let's do this. Okay. And now if I roll back now, So it says there is no corresponding begin transaction because we have done commit. So the whatever transaction was created with this update statement has been committed, right? Yeah.
Okay, makes sense.
Yeah.
Thanks.
So let's do 70,000 and 80,000 and then do a rollback. It should still reflect the old one. From employee. It is still showing 60,000. So both of these commands are rollback. So until you do a rollback or commit, it is a same transaction is going on. The moment you do rollback and commit, that transaction is closed. Then again you write a query, a new transaction will start automatically until you do a rollback or commit. Okay. Make sense?
Yes, thank you. That makes sense. Thanks.
Okay. So this is the all kinds of, languages we spoke about: DML, DDL, DQL, DCL, TCL. I think this is everything in SQL.
Ankit, please explain unpivoting a data or table.
Sorry?
Unpivoting a data.
Unpivoting a data. So unpivot you can do using one option is union, right? So for example, unpivot is, let's say, select star from region, sales season, we created something, right? Sales underscore, no, orders underscore east, let's say. No, we created a table with the pivot data, right? Isn't it? Okay, whatever. So what do you mean by unpivot? Unpivot is like this. Let me put it in Excel. Okay. So we saw yesterday pivot. What is pivot? So let's say I have this region. Okay. And we have, let's say, category, region, sales, right? So categories, let's say category 1, region is west, sales is 100. Okay. Then you have category 1, you have east, and you have 100, 200, let's say. If you want to pivot the data, so pivot means you want separate columns. You are converting rows into columns. So what you want category, right? And then you want west, and you want sales, right? So you will get category 1, and for west the sales is 100, right? Sorry, west and east, right? For west it is 100, for east it is 200. That's what we saw yesterday, pivoting. So from rows to column, you are pivoting. So if you have one more, category 2, and let's say I have here again east and 500, right? So you will have one more row here, category 2, and for west there is nothing, so it will be null, right? And here it will be 500. So this is from rows to columns, right? This is called pivoting. Unpivoting is reverse option. You want to convert from columns to rows. So basically, if you have this data and you want to convert it to this data, right? This is called unpivoting, right? So there are two methods again of doing it. One is using union. So what you can do, you can say select. So this is my table. From this table, I want to achieve this, right?
Yes.
So I will say category, comma, west, west as region, right? And then west as sales from, let's say this is my orders table. Right? So I will do this, and then I will say union all Select category. This time it is East. And then I will say East as sales from orders, right? So I will get this data from this data, right? So this is one way of doing unpivoting. Is this clear what I did here?
Yes, this is clear.
Okay. So this is one way of. Similar to what we discussed yesterday, pivot, right? In that also we have an unpivot option. I'll just show you. I don't have that syntax with me. Unpivot, but you can just explore unpivot SQL set. Okay, so let's see this one. So similar to pivot, we have unpivot and we can unpivot the data. So if you see, instead of pivot, we are using unpivot, and it is a similar syntax is similar, right? So we are saying from this table, unpivot for marks record for this, and it will give you unpivot data. It will just reverse it.
Okay.
So if you see, these are separate columns like we discussed, right? East, West, here, East, West. They were separate columns. Here also we have separate columns, marks 1, marks 2, marks 3. And if I want to unpivot, it is just giving me in this manner. Marks number, marks 1, and marks how many marks, right? So it is same thing. Just you have to, there is a little syntax change for unpivot, right? I'll just give you this link if you want to try it out. You can try it out. It is similar to pivot only. Okay, great. Any other doubts on these? Any of the transaction control or DCL or TCL? Right, you can just try it out and let me know if you have any doubts. You can post in the Telegram group or you can ask tomorrow. Okay, that is it for today, guys. We will meet tomorrow. If you have any doubts, you can ask now. Otherwise, we will meet tomorrow. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good day.
Thank you.
You too,
Good day.
Ankit. Thank you.
You too.
Thank you, Ankit. Thank you.